There it is. Pete is sure looking good. Slammed all the way. Well, the day has come. Finally, time to put on the 12 gauge air ride on the 389. Let's see how high the bumper is from the ground right now. We got about 8, 3 1/4 from the ground. A couple days ago, we went ahead and painted everything, let it dry off. Same color as the frame is. And these are the newer style 12 gauge brackets. So this is our first time trying these out. You see they have this small little bolt welded on right here. This is for the leveling valve, and it's one shock, and it's also a low profile shock. So this shock mount sits a lot closer to the bracket than on the double shock. The previous 389 we had this hit the frame. This shouldn't hit the frame anymore because it's a lot smaller, and they have it kind of welded off to the side right here. So they also come with longer shackles. The upper airbag brackets right here, completely redesigned. These holes right here line up with the factory holes on your frame. So the only 2 holes you gotta drill is for the shock mount, the top upper shock mount. They also came with the stabilizer brackets. This goes on your drag bar, steering rod bar, and this goes right here on under the U-bolts, under the axle. And you got the shock that goes from here to one of these holes right here. Went ahead and painted our U-bolts as well. Just make sure everything looks nice after it's done. The airbags are slightly different as well. They use different airline fittings on these ones, which at the same time I think these are better than the ones that come with the double shock brackets, because this has this little bevel right here which seals up a little bit better. The other ones always leak, very hard to seal them up. These are a lot easier. Anybody's wondering on the part number for these. So well, it has a bunch of airlines. We got our leveling valves, also from Automan. Step 1, take the bumper off. And we got to take off this plate. After we got the plate off, we got to undo 1, 2, and then 2 more on that side, so we could take this pin out right here. This pin out to drop the leaf spring. Those are rusted on completely. Now inside you always got a bundle of wire zip tight to the frame. Once you get that bundle out, you got the ABS connector right here, because you got to move the ABS out. And we're probably going to run this wire most likely through this hole right here, because we're not going to be using this shock mount, but we'll see once the bracket is in where it's going to go.
It's a leveling valve bracket goes in there.
Our leveling valve bracket might actually go in this hole, so
and we gotta drill one more.
So we might have to drill one more hole right here. Got one leaf spring out. Now we're going to go ahead and sand this part down, give it a little bit of filler, some of the cavitation, clean it up and paint it. That way it looks good, since we painted the whole air ride brackets and everything. So we're finishing up. We got the air ride on, everything's bolted up. Just got left to do the one shock, drill a hole. Right now what we're doing is gotta mount up the solenoid. Even though this kit did come with leveling valves, we decided to do our old traditional way and run these solenoids. It's always nice being able to control what air you want to run at. If you want to just, cruise around the parking lot, dump down, you just bump it down a little bit. With the leveling valve, you're always stuck at one pressure. you know, you get it adjusted at 50 psi. You could either only overinflate it or you could dump it all the way. You can't mess around with it. So we're just gonna go ahead and mount this thing up on our firewall. This is basically right here, cycle CYL bag. We got to split up, going left bag, right bag. This is in from the tank gauge. We block off the top, and this is just the exhaust port. You could run it down. That's it. All right, got the air line in. Solenoid up and mounted. Just gotta clean up the wire mess. Just aired up all the way right now, about 90 psi. And yeah, guys, we had to space out again. We had to put basically a plate between the leaf and the shock bracket, because this is a cat engine, and if you look right there, it has probably about 1/4 of an inch away from the axle. It is very close. So yeah, if we didn't put this right here, this plate right in there, we would have definitely bottomed out the oil pan. So we're probably gonna go ahead and maybe whenever we have time, take this oil pan off and go get it shaved. That way we could remove that plate and maybe drop the truck a little bit more, because this is how much more we got left to drop. We could drop it a little bit more till this almost touches the frame. And there it is. Our air ride is done. We used a couple shocks that we already had, because the other shocks that came with this kit are actually too short. With the truck aired up all the way, the shock would be maxed out. So we used a little bit of a longer shock instead of the one they supplied. But that's it. Here we got this side all finished up as well. And of course, guys, the W9's not getting much time, because I got myself a new Malibu project, 2013 LSV 23. So as soon as I, you know, get some more parts, the W9 is gonna get some more work done to it, and hopefully we'll see. W9 should be up for sale soon. With the air down all the way, we're pretty much sitting at 3.5 inches from the ground. So just like in the beginning video, I mentioned it was 8 3/4. That's as big as a drop. We could have dropped it more, of course, but if I show you guys, our oil pan is what's stopping us from going lower. So as soon as we shave that plug right there, we could remove this shim and we could actually go a little bit lower. It won't be much, of course, but we remove that shim. I think it's about a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch shim. So we could drop it a little bit more, but it is what it is. And guys, of course, fully aired up to 80-90 psi, we are actually higher than we originally was. At original height, we were 8 3/4. Fully aired up, we're over 9 inches. So we actually gained some height. If we need to get over a bump or something and we air it up all the way, we actually gained some height by putting on this air ride. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.